All right, it is 1 o'clock my time, 2 o'clock your time. If you guys are ready, we're going to go ahead and get started. If you haven't already, please type your first and last name in the chat box, and we can take attendance. I'll repeat that again at the end in case anyone missed it. If you're new to these Zoom calls, my name is Emily. We actually only have 2 more sessions left. So today and then next Tuesday is going to be our last session. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right. If you have any trouble hearing me, seeing me, hearing or seeing the slideshow at all, please let me know either verbally on your microphone or through the chat box. I'll try and check that throughout the meeting. And we'll get started. So today, week 7, we're going to be discussing intermittent fasting. So I'm sure a lot of you have heard of this sort of lifestyle way of eating, and maybe some of you haven't. And we're going to kind of talk about the pros, cons, if it's right for you, what it does, what its purpose is, and we'll go from there. So what is intermittent fasting? If you are not aware, intermittent fasting is basically an eating pattern that cycles between periods of food restriction or fasting and eating. I'm trying to check the chat box just 1 second. All right, awesome. So typically there are 2 main intermittent fasting schedules that people follow. So it's either the 16-8 diet or the twice a week 24-hour diet. And so we'll kind of dive deeper into that 16-8 diet and what it means. Intermittent fasting does not specify which specific foods you should eat, but rather sort of when you should eat them, a sort of a time block frame each day by day in which you either fast or the window in which you eat. So the most common intermittent fasting diet is the 16-8 diet, which I mentioned earlier. So there's going to be 16 hours of the day in which you're fasting. The majority of that is when you're sleeping, right? And then the other 8 hours is your sort of eating window. So here's just the example in this little graphic at the bottom right here. So you can see that from when they're sleeping midnight to about 8 a.m. it's a fast. From 12 p.m. to about 5 or 6 p.m. that's their eating window. And then they fast again after that throughout the night. That's the most common one. There are numerous intermittent fasting lifestyles that people follow, but this is the most common one. So what's the purpose? Why do people choose to intermittent fast? Number one, the possibility of weight loss is higher with this lifestyle. Again, it's intriguing to people because it's not necessarily a diet. They're not telling you which foods to eat. They're not telling you which foods not to eat. It's just that time window of when to eat, right? Doing this kind of forces you to eat fewer meals. You're not going to be as hungry in a shorter period of time. If you're just giving yourself 8 hours throughout the day to eat, you're not going to be eating a ton of food because you will get full faster than if you were to have that full 24-hour period. That being said, intermittent fasting is not for everyone. It can be restrictive to some people. It can lead to that binge restriction cycle. It can lead to disordered eating thoughts. So again, you just kind of have to find that balance, try it out, see if it's right for you, see if it's not. Some of the other benefits are that it might slightly boost your metabolism, not a crazy amount, but just slightly from eating in that shorter time frame. It can reduce insulin resistance, lowering your blood sugar by a small percentage, and that can in turn protect against type 2 diabetes. So some studies also show reduction in inflammation, which is a key driver in many chronic diseases. That's another one of those benefits that comes from intermittent fasting. Again, these don't appear in every single person who tries intermittent fasting. This is over a long period of time. It's not just a one-day benefit that occurs. So keep that in mind as we move forward. So some of the pros of intermittent fasting. So again, it can help with weight loss by forcing you to have that limited time frame to eat, right? That will cause you to be less hungry. Therefore, you'll be consuming less calories throughout the day. as if you were eating in a 24-hour period, right? Like I mentioned in the previous slide, it can have that possibility to reduce insulin resistance, lowering blood sugar by a small percentage, and reducing that inflammation in your body, which can protect from many chronic diseases. So that's just something to keep in mind with many of the pros. Again, the main one is that initial possibility of a weight loss. Some of the cons, again, as I said before, it can lead to that binge restrict kind of mindset in many people, right? You're restricting yourself from food for a decent amount of time. 16 hours is a long amount of time that an individual is fasting day after day. This can, if you're not prepping your food ahead of time, this can lead to that binge cycle. So as soon as that little eating block occurs in your day, your mind's going to say, oh my God, I need to eat everything in sight. I'm so hungry. I only have a limited amount of time. And that can lead to some people just kind of eating anything in sight, especially if they don't have those healthy meal preps prepared. And that can cause a lot of sort of disordered eating habits. Therefore, again, it can lead to thinking about food 24/7. Again, that 16-hour fast, you're just like, when can I eat? When can I eat? I'm so hungry. So again, it might cause you to be a little bit less productive in that way, less overall energy, because you're not consuming those calories during the 16-hour fast. Another word, calories literally means energy, right? So you're not having energy for 16 hours. You're not having calories for 16 hours. So you might feel a little bit of brain fog. Your sleep patterns might be disrupted. It can cause that extreme hunger that might, in some people, not all people, cause you to be a little bit less productive throughout the day, have that brain fog going on. So who should not participate in intermittent fasting, or who should not even try it in general? So this is just a list from numerous research studies that these individuals would not necessarily benefit from intermittent fasting. It could actually be dangerous and harmful to their health. People who have diabetes, people who have problems with blood sugar, low blood pressure, taking any medications really, especially dealing with blood pressure or blood sugar, diabetes, things like that. People who are underweight or have a history of disordered eating, pregnant women or women trying to conceive or having fertility issues, and especially athletes or high active individuals, right? So when it comes to those competitive sports or high active individuals, whether it's in the gym or at home, you really should not be participating in intermittent fasting. Your body needs that immediate fuel after your workout and throughout the day in order to help you grow and sustain your energy and not sort of fall down that spike, right? So is this way of eating right for you? Intermittent fasting is something that not everyone needs to do in order to lose weight, right? It's not that key marker that says if you want to lose weight, you have to do this. It's just one of those lifestyle strategies that can improve your health, that can help you lose weight, but it's not something for everybody. At the end of the day, again, there is no one size fits all solution when it comes to weight loss, health, nutrition, fitness. It's going to differ from person to person. And the best way of eating that's right for you is one that you can stick to for a long period of time, right? So again, this might not be for you. This might be for you. Intermittent fasting is great for some people and it's really harmful to others. The only way to find out is to try it out. If you try out this 16/8 diet one day throughout the week, maybe you're going to feel really good when you're fasting. Maybe it's going to be sustainable for you. That might be a really powerful tool in your weight loss or weight maintenance or whatever that may be journey. And that can really improve your overall health. However, if you have issues, kind of binge restrict cycle, if you think about food 24/7, if you're having those side effects of brain fog or extreme hunger, this might not be for you, right? So it's just kind of about trying it out, seeing what works for you. You don't have to stick to that 16/8 diet. You could switch it up, whether it's 15/7, right? 15/9, whatever that may be for you. You can try it out, test out the waters and see what works for you, your day, your lifestyle. So these are just some tips for success that I came up with on my own. If you are going to try the intermittent fasting lifestyle. So the first one being having meals or ingredients prepped ahead of time ready for you to eat when that fasting window ends. So like I mentioned before, when that fasting window ends and it's time for you to eat, a lot of times your mind can just go, I am so hungry, I'm going to eat everything in sight, right? So a really good tip would be to have those healthy meals prepped ahead of time in the fridge, ready to go when you're ready to eat. So the second tip would be, if you're finding yourself thinking about food 24/7, if you're overly hungry to the point where you can't do your work or focus or be productive, if you feel weak at all throughout your workouts or even just walking around the house, stop, right? It's not one of those things where you have to force yourself to do this in order to be healthy or lose weight or anything like that. These side effects can easily lead to disordered eating habits and a lot of other negative side effects in your health and your body. The next step is to stay hydrated. So it is important to consume sufficient amounts of water during this diet, especially when you're fasting, right? Your body doesn't have any of those nutrients from calories or energy. So it is important to kind of still flush out your body, drink your water throughout the day, every single day, even when you're fasting. When you do eat, when that fasting window ends and you're ready to eat, making sure that your meals contain sufficient amount of calories is super, super, super important in this lifestyle. So when your eating window starts, if you're just consuming fruits or just vegetables, your body is not going to be able to sustain that for a long period of time. You're going to need higher calories. You're going to need protein, carbs, fiber, fat during that eating window. So it's not just about restricting yourself or eating the lowest calorie foods. Your body needs that. So it's important to kind of take mental note of that and say, does this have protein? Does this have enough carbs, fiber, and fat to give me that energy when I'm in that eating window? The next step is to stay active. This way of eating does not make up for you doing less physical activity. Your body still needs regular movement for proper blood flow, circulation, healthy joints, bones, muscles, heart. No diet in the world makes up for exercise, right? They do not go hand in hand. One doesn't make up for the other. You can't outwork a bad diet. You can't use a diet in order to take back your physical activity, right? You need both in order to sustain that healthy lifestyle. So if this diet doesn't support your active lifestyle, maybe it's not for you. So that's just something to kind of test in the waters and take into consideration as well. And then the last tip that I came up with is to grocery shop mindfully. If you are going to do that 16/8 diet, maybe you want to cut back on the snacky foods that you have around the house. Maybe not have that pile of cookies or candy or donuts or whatever sitting on your counter during your 16-hour fast. That's going to just, when you have that eating window, just cause your eyes to just go there. That's the only thing that you see. So again, keeping in mind those protein, carbs, fiber, fat, fruits, and vegetables, having those calorie-dense meals ready to go is going to be a super important tip if you're on this intermittent fasting journey. And then lastly, your little take action item for this week is to just simply try out the 16/8 method of intermittent fasting for 3 days this week. Again, this is not something that you need to stick with in order to lose weight or anything like that, but it might actually be helpful for you. So just kind of take note. How does it make you feel? Are you overly hungry during that 16-hour fast? Do you feel good during that 16-hour fast? Will you continue this method of eating? Maybe it's super, super helpful for you and you're able to cut back on your calories throughout the day. What side effects and or benefits did you notice during those 3 days? And just kind of take note, maybe write down in a notebook your 3-day blocks and whatever time frame works for you, right? You don't have to do this time frame in this infographic, but whatever time frame works for your schedule. Try it out for 3 days and just kind of see how you feel, see how it makes your mental and physical body feel. So that is it for this PowerPoint. Does anybody have any questions or comments, or has anybody tried the intermittent fasting lifestyle before? Would like to share?